Yes, darling.
We are now live.
Good morning! This is the 10 o'clock news from the EV Café, brought to you by Geotab, My Energy, the AA, EV Civils, and I am John Curtis. Today we're joined by our regular news hounds, Paul and Sarah. So grab a cuppa, buckle up for the latest in sustainability news. And Geotab, our sponsors, can save you millions. Geotab has found 60% of light-duty European fleet vehicles could be switched to fully electric vehicles at a lower total cost of ownership to save a total of nearly £218 million over a 7-year service life. The United Kingdom market specifically, despite its aggressive ban on the sale of new internal combustion engine car sales in 2030, ahead of the EU in 2035, is lagging behind the rest of Europe in EV economic sustainability. This is not good news. Launched yesterday on World EV Day, the findings come from Geotab's electric vehicle suitability assessment tool, EVSA, which analysed the de-identified driving patterns of 46,000 connected internal combustion engine vehicles from 17 countries, including France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and the UK. Bottom line, we can do better in the UK, can't we, Sarah?
Certainly can, but also we can learn from our European counterparts.
Precisely. And Paul, you'll have a view on this because you have a view on most things.
I was texted. I didn't know you were going to speak to me. I was just texting me. Oh, sorry.
Just for clarity, de-identified, of course, is anonymized. Oh, hang on. Oh, no. My desk started moving. Anyway, it was going down, but everything is going up, of course. We're looking to accelerate the transition to electric vehicles. That's what the EV Cafe is all about, and that's what our partners are all about. And it's great news that Geotab are helping to accelerate the transition to electric vehicles in this way.
Local authorities are big in the news at the moment, and the Bradford Clean Air Zone is now live, which means that there will be a daily charge to drive into the zone for vehicles that do not meet the required emissions standards. The charges will not apply to passenger cars or motorbikes, and some vehicles have also been awarded an exemption. Non-compliant vans and minibuses will pay £9 per day to enter the zone, while HGVs will pay £50. Is this just another cost of living rise? Is it really right with inflationary issues such as they are? Could it have been postponed? Or is it brave of Bradford to do this and move towards net zero? What do you think, Paul?
Well, do you know what? I've talked about this a lot. There was a young lady called Ella who sadly passed away in 2013. She was an asthma sufferer, and directly it was attributed by the High Court that her death was attributed to the air quality of said area. This we are seeing all over the country, and we are still at illegal levels. This is nothing to do with a cost of living increase. This is absolutely essential action locally to drive down the NOx and particulates that are in the air in towns and cities, and of course affect all of us. 40,000 people apparently reported to die every year as a result of air quality related health issues. It's not good. This is essential.
And Sarah, we've got a local authority special on the 19th of October, a webinar of 1 hour where we talk to local authorities about precisely what they're doing, their strategies and their approaches. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, it's one of my favourite episodes of the whole year, actually, because the local authorities so often get a bad rap for not moving fast enough, wasting money, not trying hard enough, not listening to the people who live within their constituent. But I just have, in my experience of working at local authorities, that is simply not the case, particularly in the health and environmental side of things, where people really are striving and trying. And you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't in a lot of these cases. You have to look after the businesses, you have to look after the individual families moving around that city. They've chosen to live there. But at the same time, you don't want to be poisoning them every day and then sort of say, well, things are a bit expensive, so we didn't bother. Sorry that we cost the NHS millions of pounds instead. So it's all a very intrinsic, sort of interlinked ecosystem, which does need somebody brave to put, nail their colours to the mast and say, this is it. no more dirty vehicles within our city. We have provided provisions. We've got electric charging, we've got a rapid transit system, but what it can't be is the other way around. You can't just say, right, that's it, guys. Sorry that your businesses are going to suffer because of the high prices you're going to pay. You need to work together with the businesses who are based within that city. I think the West of England have done a really good job of that.
We've got a lot of comment coming in from viewers at the moment talking about our standard of dress and that they're feeling a little underdressed. Don't know what they mean, frankly, do you? But we might reveal all towards the end of the broadcast.
No, are you going to reveal all? You're not even wearing a shirt.
Anyway, I'm an out-of-work Chippendale, darlings. John Laws, Managing Director of Novuna Vehicle Solutions, welcomed the headline-grabbing support for EVs in the mini-budget last week. It's about the only good thing in the mini-budget at all. Anyway, he says, despite announcing an intent to accelerate charging infrastructure, which was great, no clear plans were laid out to provide new impetus towards the government's 2030 targets. The number of electric vehicles on the roads continues to markedly eclipse charge point installations, illustrating the necessity for swift action under the new administration. Frankly, not enough detail in the plan. Also, VAT being charged on domestic versus public charging threatens to undermine momentum towards EVs. In the light of current electricity costs, it was disappointing not to see a VAT reduction introduced with the announcements. So much wrong with that budget, it's untrue as we're feeling. David Savage, Vice President of the UK and Ireland at Geotab, added, we're encouraged to see the plans to accelerate a number of key infrastructure projects, including the local EV Infrastructure Fund and Rapid Charging Fund. Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng's mini-budget is an encouraging shift in the right direction, particularly with the looming 2030 stop sell date for internal combustion engine vehicles, echoing Paul's view that we've got to do it now. So, yeah, an utter shambles of a budget, but at least EV is still on the agenda. We're moving kind of in the right direction with infrastructure, but with billions and hundreds of billions being pumped into our economy are necessary to continue this unsustainable budget position. The writing's on the wall for net zero unless we really double down on our efforts, aren't they, Sarah?
I know, I'm really excited about, I don't know if you've heard Quentin Wilson's fair charge that was covered in Alec Peachy's Transport and Energy. I'm very, very proud to say that Pay Through, who I work for, has signed that because we see the importance of the 5%, 20% and how impactful that's going to be for fleet, which is, of course, my favourite subject ever. So the budget is not where it needs to be, but there are elements of power that we can give ourselves within that to wiggle around and say, actually, that's not okay. And when a sheer volume happens, that's when change comes.
We're coming to an area of absolute lust for Paul Kirby right now. Stand by, PK. We're coming to you, baby. Arrival and Volta, the electric truck and van companies, have got wheels on the road. The first Arrival large van has rolled out of its Bicester assembly plant and will be delivering parcels in London in time for Christmas. Yay! Santa's got an Arrival. Anyway, Volta have been testing on road the first electric Volta Zero, and it's completed its first design verification prototype distribution run in Paris. Very exciting times. Paul, you must be absolutely frothing to see Volta and Arrival on the road.
I know, and all coming around World EV Day, isn't it fantastic news? So, I mean, you know, what has really excited me is about the sort of inexorable progress that has been demonstrated by Volta Trucks in particular. And this landmark vehicle that they've produced straight off the line, production line, sort of traditional, but reliable pilot to form part of a pilot fleet of trucks that are going to go
easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say.
Said fart. You said fart.
I did say fart. Yes, I said fart. Excuse me, I had a brain fart at the time I said fart. Anyway, so but they will be going into customers from now. The first one is with DB Schenker, of course, who have ordered 1,400 of these things. And there will also be a further 1,000 orders from Petit Forestier, 6,500 vehicles on order, well over £1 billion worth in the bank. Now that's great news. That's good news from a revenue perspective, which is essential when it comes to delivering these kinds of projects. And of course, the arrival van, I've been a little bit dismissive, a little bit concerned, perhaps, of their ability to actually deliver. But getting the first van out for real world testing and trials to let the great British roads give it a battering and the great British drivers give it a battering and all, this will be a real test for them. So it's good that they're at the start line, and it's great to see what Volta have achieved. And their pace to market, Volta's pace to market, has been exceptional, and I'm really excited to see how this develops over the coming weeks and months.
What about Indie EV? Indie EV.
Indie EV, another great British manufacturer. They are producing, they've produced their first prototype, so that is in progress. So the next sighting of that vehicle will be at Fleet and Mobility Live. So this is a British-built ground-up electric van, and it has been produced down near the Brighton coastline. Will be visible for all to see in the Innovation Centre at Fleet and Mobility Live, where, of course, the EV Cafe will be there in force, hosting your cafe. So come and join us for a cup of coffee.
None of that was scripted. That's just the top of his head. That's how good he is.
I thought it was off the top of his head. It was very good.
It was.
It's off the top of his head.
Look, see, I mean, look, there's nothing left.
Shake it out. Shake your brain out.
Now then, yesterday was World EV Day, and I had a takeaway from that, which was that there has been a 24% drop in average miles driven compared to pre-pandemic levels, according to automotive research company Buy Miles. That's amazing. 24% still being felt. So less journeys, less emissions, less grot in the air. That was a great thing for me. Takeaways from you, Paul. What did you take away from yesterday's World EV Day?
I took away that Sarah's a koala, Sam's a panda,
Oh, yeah.
You're a deer.
Oh dear.
Johnny is, I can't remember, and I'm a tiger, a tiger, or a tiger. So that relates to a post that we put on LinkedIn. So other than that, I must admit, I didn't. There was actually a really good report out by Leaseplan. Leaseplan kind of brought to life some of the work that they've been doing over the last couple of years, really sort of celebrating some of the real milestones they're making, particularly with salary sacrifice schemes and really helping drivers to adopt a new way of doing things. So it was a bit car focused, so I glazed over after about the sixth word. But great news that they're pushing that sort of thing.
What about you, Sarah?
Oh, I just loved how everyone, even though it was supposed to be ages ago and it turned out to be yesterday, everyone still got behind it like that blip didn't happen. So just to prove that the EV community is really, really strong and, as you say, funner. I'd like us to
Rosie Hamer.
Funner. I'd like to put remember when you sent that picture of who's who? I'd now like to compare it to our guesses of who was who. They're in there somewhere. So yeah, but World EV Day, all jokes aside, is one of the widest reaching campaigns, and lots of people who aren't in the EV world have heard of it. So I think that's a really important thing to get behind.
Rosie Hamer, can I just say thank you to you for saying that you need to tune into more of these. We would love you to do so. We'd also love you to tell your friends. So bring doubting Thomases along. Bring people who don't know anything about electric vehicles. Bring people who feel the fear. We'll talk to them. We'll tell them what's going on, and we'll open eyes. Bless your heart. Anyway,
comfortable.
We've got a busy month coming, and we're now going to reveal all as we tell you why we're wearing dicky bows and sparkles. So obviously, we've got to get from where we are now to the EVs in central London next week, because we are up as the EV Cafe for the award for EV Startup of the Year. Finalists, we probably aren't going to wander off with the trophy, but I tell you what, we are going to have a ball. We've also got Fleet and Mobility Live, previously mentioned, on the 11th and 12th of October, free to register. If you want to come along, talk to us, please do. You'll be filmed. And Rosie, still love you lots. Public Sector Special, 19th of October. We are looking to connect with you, to find new people to come along. Local authorities will be the subject matter, and we're going to be talking about local stories from local people, things that are actually happening on the ground. Anything finally in summary, Pablo or Sarah?
Well, no, but I think people see public sector as really boring, but actually, to Sarah's point, really exciting. So much stuff going on the ground. I'm in Bedfordshire, right? And so in the town of Bedford, we've got connected curb going up all over the place. We've got other charge points getting deployed. It really does look like somebody had a big brain fart and actually started delivering all of this stuff all over the place. It was brilliant. And so there is really good stuff going on. And apologies for the use of the word fart again. There'll be children all over the place laughing their socks off.
8 and 9-year-olds. Sarah.
Please actually do wear a shirt on the night, John, for the only thing I'd say. And this is my Green Fleet dress. This is green sequins for Green Fleet. So yes, Darren, you're right. We got dressed very, very far on, but like 9 minutes ago, I was still wearing my running gear. So you're just lucky.
Yeah, so we've got to walk now because we're sustainable transport people. So we have to walk now to central London.
That's actually a really good point. Anybody who's going into London on the Wednesday the 5th, the rail strikes will mean that you have to walk or you have to lift share. So please, in advance, make sure you've got that bit sussed.
An absolute horror story coming our way. Thanks ever so much to the rail guys. Hope they get a fair wage, but for goodness sake, let's get it resolved and get it sorted and move on. Anyway, until next Friday. It's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from them. This has been an EV Cafe production. Other sustainability news services are available, but this is just Sarah
Bonner.
Bonner. The EV Cafe news is regulated by Sparky from My Energy, Tucker from the AA, installed by EV Civils, and monitored by Geotab. The news is performed by professionals. Please do not try this without a safety net. Any query regarding the accuracy of the news should be addressed to the right dishonourable. Quasi, the economy is safe in my hands. Quaten. Until next week, 10 o'clock, we're out of here. Goodbye, love you lots. And Rosie Hamer, you're foul.
What a legend.
Big question that we've got to answer after the show.
I know. Well, we will do.